Hey guys, it's Elena Supreme here, and today I am making a video on a requested video. And someone asked me to do a YouTube video about abuse, and she said that I can share her story. So I am just going to briefly share her story. So by the way, I'm gonna make this a two-part video. So the first part is gonna be about the request, and then the second part is just going to be about, you know, what else I was seeing and what she was writing to me. So did I say, I'm gonna call her Jennifer. Actually, I'm gonna call her Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer said that, like, as she was growing up, her mom was suffering from depression. Sorry, y'all, I'm not in my normal not environment, just not in my normal setting. So she was suffering from depression, and when Jennifer turned 5, she started dating this guy, and then they started to make fun of her. That sounds about right. When people are going through depression and they don't want to face their depression, they will bother other people, even if it is their own kids, to make themselves feel better. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. And then when she turned 10, she had her first other sibling from that guy. And from there, that's when she started to get beatings. And she wouldn't tell anybody because she was sworn to secrecy. And you know how, like, in abuse, usually the abuse is like, you know, if you tell somebody I'll kill you, or I'll kill your mother, or anything just to make you not say anything, because they want to have that power over you, because they have a power problem and they probably feel powerless, so now they have to take it out on you in order to feel like they are powerful. And you know, these are the type of people that exist, unfortunately, because people don't want to deal with their problems, because maybe sometimes people just don't know how to deal with them. Maybe sometimes people don't want to go see a psychologist because they don't believe in it, and then people don't believe in spirituality, so like people don't want to do the work to heal themselves, which is going to be what my part 2 is about. Anyway, so then her mom had 3 more kids, and so Jennifer started being treated differently, which, man, this is just terrible. Then because of all of that, you know, with the beatings, and then her mom started mentally abusing her, when you know after a while she just wanted to commit suicide, but at least she had an uncle that was there that would try to stop her. Then when she turned 15, sorry y'all, I'm on my computer. When she turned 15, her stepdad was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar. And then he tried to, like, abuse her again, and, like, really tried to fight her, like, terribly. Then like, they just was no type of support. Like, you know, if Jennifer was out here feeling suicidal, they would say things like, go ahead, kill yourself, I'll be happy. So what is a 15-year-old supposed to do with that type of information? Like, that's crazy. And so she started cutting herself. Next, she was grabbed by the teacher who found the cuts. And then that's when Jennifer was able to get out of that situation, move with her grandmother. And now she is diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And yeah, So my second video is going more into depth about that, because after you get over the first problem, you know, where do you move on after that? So that's what my second video will be about. But just getting getting through the story, it's really good that Jennifer really went and she was able to tell her story. Even if you're sworn to secrecy, you should always tell your story, because somebody can help you. Usually when you're in an environment like school, somebody has some type of passion for kids. So, somebody's going to care about you. Don't just act out like, oh, my stepdad treats me like this, so, forget everybody. And now you're misunderstood. And now, the information that you could have given to a teacher or something like that, now they can't process it correctly, or they might not want to, or like it'll just be a certain type of, you're not gonna be comfortable coming to them. Just be honest and go in there and say, listen, I got a lot going on at home. I don't know what to do about. My dad beats me. It makes me want to commit suicide. However you want to start it off, you got to start it off. If you want change in your life, you have to believe that you can have change, and then work to get that change. So, so you can say things like, okay, I'm gonna get out this house. I know I'm gonna get out this house. And then do the work. So if you're still in public school, go ahead and tell a teacher and let them know, hey, I'm in a dangerous situation. Like, I was told not to tell anybody, and I was told not to tell anybody things too growing up. Oh, you only keep this in a family because it's a family thing. And I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? I dealt with people who did drugs and used to take my things so that they could get drugs. They used to take things from my grandmother just to get drugs. And these people were called my parents. And so if I didn't do what they wanted me to do, they would tell me, oh, why would you do that? I stay here, take you to the doctor, things like that. Things what like parents are supposed to do. They'll like make excuses like, oh, I stay here, take care of you, I cook food for you, you tell me you can't give me your last dollar. I'm like literally like 8 years old, like what? So they weren't like my biological parents, but that's a long story. I might do a story time if it's requested, but anyway, I was told that, and I had to learn by myself, which took me a long time because it's by myself. But when I was about 11, 12 years old, I told my sister that I recently met at that time, I wanted to live with her. I did not want to live with them anymore and get treated like that. And I didn't know all that I wanted, but I just know I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be like dealing with that. I wanted to know what it was like to have something. So I left. And that was a whole journey in itself. In turn, had me move back in. And that's when I learned really, 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 really the power of my words. Okay? Because at the time, those same people were still living with my grandmother. And so I was like, I want y'all out of here. And they got out. And they got out a very interesting way. It was kind of scary. And you know what? Now I could love them from a distance. Like, I hope y'all doing good. I don't wish no harm on y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all must be narcissistic to think that everything is all good and dandy after all of that. Because, you know, when you're a child, you have a very innocent, forgiving heart. So you're like, you know, I forgive you, okay, fine. I see what you do, okay. You have so much hope for that person to treat you better so bad. But you, eventually, you have to learn that people need to learn their lesson. They need to learn it. And it's not up to you to do it, but it's up to you to, if you see something, you gotta say something. I used to tell my friends, oh yeah, I'm suicidal. They couldn't do nothing. I didn't tell a teacher, but I did tell a family member. It really depends on who is there for you at that moment. When you tell a teacher, sometimes they can get you in touch with another family member, like Jennifer's family. Her grandmother was able to take her away from all of that. At that time, my sister was able to take me away from all of that. And it was really rough for my situation because half of the house was people who used to try to support me, buy me the things that I needed because I was a growing child. I needed food, clothes, water, you know, things like that. They got me what I asked for. But I didn't really know what I wanted because I never really knew what I could want. Anyway, that's a whole nother story and a story in itself. So yeah. So when I turned 20 years old, I was finished. Okay, my 20th birthday was almost ruined because yeah, I'ma just leave that because it was almost ruined because of those people. So what did I do? I was grateful that these people were gonna move out the house, and they did. Okay, they never, mind you, if I never had anything to do with it, listen to this one. They lived with my grandma for over 30 years. I'm 20 years old. Okay, if I had nothing to do with it, I'm just saying, like, this is the power of your words, okay? Now, because I learned a little more, I don't use things like gratitude because, I mean, it works, but it's not the fastest product that is possible. The fastest product that is possible is demanding it, saying, yeah, you're gonna move out very soon. You are gone out of this house. That's it. Toodles, bippity boppity boo. That's it, you're gone. Okay, like, there's no, yeah, I think you guys are going to move out. I want you guys, because you're creating this is not happening. You gotta be like, I'm grateful you guys are packing and getting yourselves on out of here. Yes. And you just do that self for your own situation too. Be like, I'm happy that I'm going to another situation that's going to love me the way I want to be loved. Important. Okay. Or maybe you don't know how to be loved, so probably you shouldn't say that. People who are going to take care of me, always treat me with respect, and always love me as a person. Doing that and then putting action. Now, my action was putting my foot down and saying, no, you can't have it, and finding a smart way that they can't access my money. And I made sure, even though they couldn't use it, it was always in my bra. When I went to sleep, it's in my bra. So if they snuck under my pillow, it's not there, it's in my bra. And of course, I'ma feel if who's feeling on me, okay, to find my stuff. Okay, so at least I didn't have that situation. At least. So yeah, things could have been a lot worse with that one. But it took me 20 years to finally face up to the fear of saying no. Say no. And It took me 20 years to learn that I can manifest what I want in this life. Bruh, so can you. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter. When you have knowledge of something, you can do it. You just have to believe. Believe and logically do things. When you do those two things, you have the whole world in your hand. And don't be afraid if you're sworn to secrecy. Just think smart. Think of, okay, if I do that, what possibly can happen? Not what your stepdad's telling. Think of, okay, if I tell my friend Sally can go, you know, if I invite Sally to my house, let's say, Sally can go and like she can accidentally say something. So I might have to tell somebody else different. I might have to tell an adult where they know what it means to be sworn to secrecy. They understand that it's dangerous. And yeah, with that, then I can do that. There's a lot of situations where people are being all types of abused by their parents. And it's important for you guys to say something because something is happening to you. And you do not deserve to be treated less than who you are, ever by nobody, not even yourself. So if you're not being treated how you want to be treated, ask somebody, like, listen, okay, I know I ain't got all the answers, but I don't think this is right. Okay, I don't think, you know, getting back to Jennifer's situation, I don't think this is right that, you know, my dad can hit me. Like, I don't like this. And you know, and I'm sitting here cutting myself, starving myself, wanting to commit suicide because I don't feel like a person, you know, in my house. What can I do? Always ask, what can you do? You know? Give yourself the courage to be brave enough to go and do it. So one day I went and performed somewhere on a whim. Like, I just got up. I didn't even want to do it. Okay, I was so scared. I was like, oh my god, why am I here? Like, why am I on stage right now doing this? Like, I don't know why I'm doing. I didn't have to do it. It was an option to, and I just did it. And I mean, looking back at the video, I'm like, that was a mess. Like, that's not even how, like, it showed me my flaws, but I'm proud of the fact that I went and did something that I was so scared to do. And even though it was little, practice makes program. When you practice being who you want to be, even in small things, it'll come naturally to you eventually. You won't have to beat yourself up. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I don't do things that come on whim, but when I do, it's such a experience. So practice telling yourself, okay, today I'm going to tell my teacher my story. Tell my teacher how I feel and let them know that something's wrong. I don't like this. Just like you have a question for homework, I got a question about life. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this doesn't seem right. And before you go, what I used to do was, before I did anything, let's say I was going to let's say I was going to deal with like a confrontation. Confrontations were like such a pain in the neck. I was like scared of my brain to do. I would say, I'm grateful that this is gonna happen like this, and that this is gonna happen like this. Thank you. And then I will go in there and then do it, because I would believe in what I said. Like I said, you know, now I don't use the gratitude method. I use something else. But you have to say something if you want change. If you don't say anything, you won't get any change. Because what Jennifer could have done was, oh, it's nothing, cover her arm, not talk about it, and walk away. And then what that would have did, depending on the teacher, maybe the teacher would have went to somebody and then she would have got a call home or something that would have made the situation worse. So Jennifer being brave and, you know, talking about her story, that's what you have to do for change in your life. When I was brave and I told my sister, hey, I don't want to be here anymore because of these people, when it was the day to go, that was so hard because the whole house was like a certain way, and I felt so bad because I did something for myself once in my life and nobody agreed with it. And I was so scared that I wouldn't be accepted in that house anymore and things like that. But I'm so happy for the experience I had because it taught me that I need to do things for myself. I need to practice doing that because one day I'm gonna have to pay bills, which I do. One day I can't, you know, be like, oh, I can just get my money out freely just because my friends ask. I had to choose myself first because I have to, you know, put food in my stomach, put a roof over my head. These are things that kids don't have to think about. But when it's time to think about it, it's a very different experience. So practice doing it now. Practice, you know, making yourself feel like a person, like you exist, or you know, and eventually things will get better. That's what I want to say. So yeah, this is part 1 of the video. In part 2, I want to talk about where Jennifer was talking about how she had PSTD and some suggestions I have there when it comes to that. And yeah, so I hope that this part of the video is up to your expectations, and I hope that it does help anybody that needs any type of suggestion, help, or anything like that. I hope that it really does enlighten you. Okay, so I'll see you guys on the second part.